2023 sales meeting. We have tons of stuff that we're going to cover in the next 50 minutes or so. So I am going to dig into today's program. As always, I like to remind you that knowledge is not power, execution is power. So since you've decided to spend the next hour with us, write down one or two things that you're going to go execute on after today's program. So first, we want to just say welcome. This is our busy season for agents joining the brokerage. So just quick shout out, wanted to say welcome to all the agents that joined since our last meeting. Welcome to Lax, David, Melissa, Anand, Shay, Melissa, Sherry, and Carolyn, as well as John, Nadine, Mary, Lisa, Jelzy, Vicky, and Norman. Welcome to all the agents that have joined us in the last 30 days. And we have so many exciting announcements coming up between now and the end of the year. So excited to say that you'll have lots of new LAER family members in the very near future. With that, let's talk about what's happening in the marketplace and what our agents are doing for business right now. First, our October sales numbers. We ended up doing 261 closings for the month of October, as well as 59 rentals. I used to always say we never do rentals, but now they've become so significant part of our business that we like to acknowledge all the rentals that we're closing each month as well. So congratulations to the agents that closed those 261 sales plus the 59 rentals. And we closed a total of $126 million in sales volume for the month of October. Let's just take a quick look at the breakdown of that. This is by where agents, whatever office the agents are affiliated out of. We have lots of agents that do business in multiple states. So the Massachusetts-based agents, that's agents that are located in Massachusetts offices, did 200 sales this month at 103 million. Our Florida agents did 48 sales at 18 million, and our New Hampshire-based agents did 13 sales at 14.45 million. Let's take a look at our top 5 teams by volume for our Massachusetts offices. Congratulations goes out to Silver Key Homes, Page and Company, O'Connell and Company, the Nido team, and Cook and Company. As well, our top 5 individuals by volume for Massachusetts. Congratulations to Paul Brulette, Elena Marchus, Olivia Paris, Michelle Matthew, and Martha Celli. Let's take a look at top 5 teams, Massachusetts offices by unit sold. Top 5 teams are Silver Key Homes, Page and Company, O'Connell and Company, the Sarah and Kara team, and Cook and Company. So congratulations to our top 5 teams in Massachusetts by units. And let's look at individuals, Massachusetts office, Paul Brulette, congratulations, and Kim Kuplast, Michelle Matthew, Brenda Albert, and Corey Gracie. Congratulations to our top 5 individuals for Massachusetts offices. Let's take a look at New Hampshire. First, we have our top 5 teams and individuals by volume. Congratulations to the Fulford Group, the Lisa Newman team, Platinum Realty Group, Luba Fedorov, and Tim Wagner. Oops. And then looks very similar. Our top 5 individuals and teams by units for New Hampshire. Again, we have Fulford Group, Lisa Newman team, Platinum Realty Group, Luba Fedorov, and Tim Wagner. Let's take a look at our top 10 Florida agents and teams by volume for October. Congratulations goes out to Jose, Team Batro, Darlie DeRusso, Tanya, Janet, James, the Giswaldo team, Vivian, Isabel, and Matt McLaughlin. Congratulations to our top 10 by volume for our Florida offices. And let's take a look at our top 10 Florida agents and teams by units for October. We have Jose, back to our team, Darley, Tanya, Isabel, Janet, the Giswaldo team, Vivian, Matt McLaughlin, and Mark Wooten. So congratulations to all of our Florida agents. As always, we also put out our top 25 lists. So today you're going to get an email. Our marketing team is going to post these on our internal blog. You'll get an email notification, and make sure that if you're on one of our top 25 agents or teams, or if you're on any of our top agent lists for the month of October, that you click on the link when that goes out this afternoon, because our marketing team puts together some great marketing pieces that you can share on social media. It is time to do a humble brag about the hard work that you're doing in a different market than we have experienced over the last year. So let's take a look at our numbers year over year. So we did 261 closings at $126 million for October of this year as compared to our last year's numbers. So what we see here is for October, our numbers are actually slightly better this year than last year. That being said, we're heading into our winter months. So let's take a look at the overall where we stand as compared to last year. So year to date this year, we've closed 2,393 sales at 1.15 billion. As compared to last year, we did 2,729 closings at 1.29 billion. I'm super proud of you guys. One agent did ask last month, does this count the fact that we've added quite a few agents in the last 12 months? Absolutely. So the industry average, as NAR predicted, was that our businesses would be off by about 30%. So if we hadn't continued to go out there and grow as an organization, bringing in additional offices and additional agents, I believe our numbers would be somewhere around a 30% decline in business year over year. But we've made up for a lot of that by continuing to go out and finding talented agents and growing our current talented agents. So we're down by about 13% in units and 12% in volume. You guys have seen this, so I'm not going to go into too much explanation on it, but all of us, to make up that 30% gap in business that most agents are experiencing, we have to get out there and find new ways to tap into new business. Expired listings. I don't know about you guys, but I pull the hot sheets every single day, and there's a lot of expired listings and there's a lot of price reductions. Are there markets where there's still bidding wars? Maybe. I don't see a lot of markets where there's like 20 offers coming in on a property. However, that being said, if a property is priced typically well under $1 million and is priced well, you might get more than one offer, but our market is absolutely shifting. So expired listings are one way to go generate new business. For sale by owners, small bank REO. Go to the local banks and credit unions in your marketplace. Who's handling their foreclosures? Probate. Go team up with an estate planning attorney. 1031 exchanges. I'm a huge fan of 1031 exchanges. We have a phenomenal class that you can find on our YouTube station, specifically on 1031 exchanges, because you could create a customer out of nothing. Somebody that doesn't even realize that it's in their best interest to sell this property and exchange it for a property that has better numbers. Go sign up for every lead service that you can. In our LAER program and services guide, which you can download at laerrealty.com/success tools, I believe it's on page 33 or 34. You can click on a link and it lists all of the referral fee-based lead platforms. It is worth it. This should be one of the things that you add to your list of things you're going to execute on. Go sign up for every lead service out there, and don't stop at stop signs. If they say there's a waiting list, keep signing up. For example, Veterans United is a coveted list to be on. We have agents that would kill to be on Veterans United because you get a lot of business from Veterans United if you're on their list. They've been opening up their wait list. So if you signed up a while ago, some of our agents are now getting accepted into that program. Anyways, all of the best lead platforms are listed in our LAER program and services guide with direct links to the sign up pages for those products. Orphaned clients. So we've already started to see an exodus of real estate people. That means agents will be exiting the business. Team up with those agents. When you see somebody has left the business or is contemplating leaving the business, team up and say, I want to be the one that continues to market to your sphere of influence and work out referral programs. Partnerships. Go create partnerships, moving companies, Title V companies in Massachusetts, clean out companies, assisted living companies. Who are the companies that are already speaking to your potential buyer or seller? Events. Ever since the pandemic, people love to get out and go to events. Time to start hosting your own events. VA seminars, first-time buyer seminars, seller seminars, credit cleanup, senior downsizing seminars. You can do these events in person or on Zoom or both. And then open houses. Open houses are always a phenomenal way to build a great business. If you don't have inventory to do an open house, well, create a marketing video that you go out to our agents who have an abundance of listings and ask if you can host their open houses and take the leads, the buyer leads that come through. So let's lean into some of the company updates we have for the month. First of all, not everybody, there are many agents freaking out about the National Association of Realtors, the case with that is going to change the face of buyer agency. So is there anything to freak out about? Absolutely not. In fact, one of the things that every agent needs to do if you want to be in the business for the long haul is it is times like these, changes coming through on buyer agency versus seller agency, changes in the market where houses are sitting for a little bit longer, there's a buildup of inventory, rates are higher. Times like these require mindset management. The universe is picking winners and losers right now for the 2024 real estate market. You want to be a winner for the 2024 real estate market? It is going to come down to the thoughts in your own head. How you think about the market will predict whether you will be here in this business 12 months from now. So there are things you can do to take action. Now, the National Association of Realtors, like that whole lawsuit is going to take several years before everything pans out. The actual lawsuit and actual settlements are paid out because there is an appeal process still to go through. So we're a long way off from a resolution on that lawsuit. But there are things you should be doing now. In fact, in an email I sent out recently, I said, these are things you should be doing not because of the lawsuit, but because you should be doing them anyways. I sent out some links to some buyer agency or buyer contract classes at the boards, but every real estate board that we are affiliated with, and I think we're affiliated with like 15 different boards, they are all offering classes. Lean into your boards and take those classes. Become an expert at buyer contracts and buyer agency. Go lean into classes. Next, start looking at the buyer agency contracts that are available to you, either in app files in Florida, or we have them in .loop in Massachusetts. I will tell you, when I contact the local board, some of the wording is changing on standard buyer contracts. So I think that's going to change a little bit. We are going to see standardized forms come out with some changes specifically on buyer contracts, but it's a good idea to start getting used to. Read what's out there. What are the terms in those contracts? It's a good idea to start using buyer agency contracts. So once you get comfortable using them or understanding them, start using them. Create a buyer presentation. Almost everybody that's watching this program today has a listing presentation. That if you're going to go meet a seller, you realize that you have to articulate your value proposition in order to get that seller to feel comfortable to sign a listing contract with you. When you're working as a buyer agent, in my opinion, you should have the same, a buyer presentation. Now, we have a beautiful buyer booklet on LAERagentservices.com that can act as the beginning stage of a presentation. Our marketing team is also working on like a PowerPoint buyer presentation, very similar to the listing presentation that we have at LAERagentservices.com. And it's really so that when you have your first appointment with a buyer, the expectation will be to have them sign a buyer contract. Well, we want to articulate some value first so that the buyer feels more than comfortable signing that agreement. Create campaigns that show your value. That's a way you can take action now. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about the Thanksgiving pie reverse pop buy program, but get out there and show appreciation to your sphere of influence. The people who already know, like, and trust you in your business, they're going to be a key to your success in 2024. Lean into your realtor membership. This is an important one. What's really interesting is if you listen to the noise, and there's a lot of it in our industry right now, there's a lot of noise out there about brokerages leaving the National Association of Realtors, blah, blah, blah. All I will say is that, in my opinion, the reason we all still have lucrative careers in real estate is because of the National Association of Realtors. Now, where would yellow taxis be? If you go to New York City, you never see a yellow taxi. If you went to New York City 15 years ago, it was a sea of yellow taxis. Imagine that they had a lobbying organization that protected their interests and the interests of the people who were riding in the taxis. I think yellow taxis would still be thriving today. Same with travel agency businesses. There are businesses or industries, entire industries that are going extinct. And one of the reasons that ours has not is because of the membership in the National Association of Realtors. By the way, there's a million other perks that come along with your membership in the Realtor Association. But the most important one, the one that should make you proud to write a $600 check a year, is that they protect our industry. They protect your paycheck. And they also protect the consumers who are buying and selling real estate. Next, another way you can take action is to be super alert as to how you speak about buyer representation. I heard an agent doing a video in the last 30 days. It was like a video on Facebook, and they were talking about working with that agent as their buyer agent. And the agent said, it doesn't cost you anything to work with me as your buyer agent. We have to be super careful with words like that. In fact, that is the basis of the lawsuit with the National Association of Realtors. So let's eliminate words. Let's really, instead of focusing on price and cost, let's really focus just on the value that we bring as buyer agents. And then most important, one of the absolute most important things that you can do for your business over the next 30, 60, 90 days, a year, is manage your mindset. I cannot stress enough, the universe is absolutely picking winners and losers, and it is all based on what is going on inside of your head. So let's talk about some other updates as well. First of all, we have been revamping our whole onboarding system because we have so many agents joining our brokerage. We wanted to create a more organized system for making sure that they understand how to access some of the tools, training, and technology. Well, in doing so, we created these little briefing sessions, and we said, you know what? There are some of the agents who've been here for a while that would probably want to get in on these briefing sessions. So for example, let's say you've been here for a while and you're really not using your ISAC database, or you're really not using Real Scout. These are some of the tools that are going to be a key to your success. So you can go to laerrealty.com/briefings and schedule 30-minute briefing sessions with one of our staff members. And they're going to do a one-on-one Zoom call with you to make sure you understand, for example, if it's on ISAC, how to log into ISAC, how to get your set it and forget it marketing programs going, how to use our new buyer drip campaign. So we can help you get those tools working for your business. This is the time of year that you can work on these things. And by the way, we're going to be expanding this big time. We're working with some of our top agents in the company so that we can bring you these one-on-one briefing sessions as well. So for example, maybe you want to have a top agent do a session with you to help you prepare a market analysis on one of your listings. You're going to be able to sign up for briefing sessions for stuff like that as well. So one of the ways we manage mindset, I'll talk about this during a very short presentation I have today, is with gratitude. Our thoughts create energy. We are all energy. We are transmitters of energy. And it's especially this time of year, it is too easy to focus on stuff that you don't have. I don't have a huge pipeline of business. I don't have a ton of buyers. I don't have this. I don't have that. All of that leads you into a negative vortex of energy, and you go into a mode of not attracting anything for your business. The fastest and easiest way to start attracting all the good things that you deserve in your business and your life is to focus on gratitude all day, every day. And with that, our happy agent hosts across the company are this week in the process of decorating our offices for the holidays. So what we've done is we've ordered supplies so that our holiday tree this year, they're becoming gratitude trees. So there'll be stations at each of the offices where we have trees, where when you come into the office, you can create ornament. It'll only take 10 minutes for our tree. And your ornament is to focus on gratitude. What are you most thankful for? And we're doing that so that as a company, as a team, we can all together focus on the things that we're grateful for as we move into 2024. Some other things happening at our company. First, I'll have the pleasure of seeing some of you, I'm sure, this evening at the grand opening of our Burlington, Massachusetts office. So I look forward to seeing you guys there as well. Many of you guys know that over the last several years, we have a phenomenal gifting department at LAER. Some of you guys have been the recipients of our gifting department. We like to show our appreciation when agents have anything happen in their life. We want to know about it and show our appreciation. So we send out gift boxes, as you know, when a new agent joins, but also if an agent's sick, we have boxes that we send out, or if an agent has had surgery, or for any birth announcements, marriage announcements, new homes, a death in a family, a new pet. So our happy agent hosts have always been the ones that keep us aware of what's happening in the brokerage so that we can let you know that we care and that we want to be there to be your support. Well, now we're opening it up to agents as well. So what this means is if you know of something happening in the life of a fellow agent, maybe you know they're out sick with COVID, or that they had a new baby, or they just moved to a new home, you can help us recognize those promptings. You can go to laerrealty.com/promptings, and that notifies us so that when we meet with our gifting department, we can reach out to that person just to make sure that they know that our fellow agents at LAER know that we're thinking about them and we care about them. Also, this is super helpful for some of our teams that are still growing. We wrote this wonderful little booklet, and it's really a tool for agents that are shopping for a brokerage. And you can actually download it. I think it's up. Yes, at laerrealty.com/careers. There's a download version of this booklet. It's like a 15-page booklet. We also recorded a YouTube video on our LAER, youtube.com/LAER training. And it really focuses, it's not a recruiting tool whatsoever. In fact, we don't go into any of the specifics about the LAER tools, training, or technology. It is a guide to show agents what they should be looking at when they consider a brokerage, when they're shopping for a brokerage. What are the questions they should ask? Because what's very interesting, we bring on a lot of agents each year, and especially new agents, they come in and they're like focused only on what is the split. And that is the least important piece to be focused on. Is a fair compensation important? Absolutely. Is it the most important? Absolutely not. It's really important. So I always say that the statistics state that 87% of people who get a real estate license are already out of the business within 3 years. And in my opinion, that's because agents end up at a brokerage where there is literally no support whatsoever. There is no direction whatsoever. So they end up eventually just exiting the business. This is a guide that just shows agents like what are the important things to be looking for when shopping for a brokerage. You guys should have all received an email. A couple notifications have gone out about this already, but this holiday, the upcoming holiday of Thanksgiving, is a wonderful time to appreciate all of the people who have made your business. So buyers, sellers, sphere of influence, your friends, your family. So we put this together each year just to help you with the ordering process of pies. So that basically the idea is a reverse pop buy program where you buy a whole bunch of pies and invite your sphere of influence into the office a day or two before Thanksgiving and give them a pie. You can do this all on your own. You don't have to go through us to order the pies. We just do it to add some additional convenience for those agents who don't want to handle the pie ordering process. If you download our newsletter, the Inside the Den newsletter this month, on the very back page of the newsletter, by the way, you can download this at laerrealty.com/news. On the very back page, it gives you the link for ordering the pies. It's like a 10-step process where we walk you through the process of hosting an appreciation event/party for your sphere of influence. Not only that, we give you like the invitations, the little tags to put on your pies, an order form if you want us to order the pies. So we've tried to take most of the heavy lifting off of you, although there's still some heavy lifting because you still have to send it out and invite your clients, and you have to be there the day of the event. But what a wonderful way to honor the people who already know, like, and trust you. I mentioned this last month, but we just recently updated our LAER program and services guide. You can download this at laerrealty.com/success tools. It's a 40-page guide of all the tools, training, technology, and resources you have available to you at LAER. The other thing we recently added is for agents who don't want to come to an office and fuss with a printer to get all of your stuff printed, we do offer now, as part of the LAER marketing bundle, you'll see a little button on there where we'll FedEx overnight all of your print materials in an open house package right to your house. And it comes in a navy blue LAER folder, all of your marketing pieces, some brochures about LAER, etc. Let's see. Craig is not with us today. However, I do think we have Mike. Are you talking on behalf of Coast to Coast today?
I am. Good morning, everyone. So recently I've seen an uptick in fraud situations in real estate closing. So I thought it'd be a good idea just to give everyone some basic things to look out for in a transaction. And first and foremost, if there's going to be a fraud taking place in a real estate transaction, it normally is going to be either the day of or the day before the transaction. It's also going to be during a very busy time of the month, because that's when people let their guard down because they have so much to do. So keeping that in mind, end of the transaction, busy time of year, you want to look for a few certain things. The first thing that should be a tip off is if you get a new player in the game very late. Someone else comes on board and they say, I'm working with this person or I'm representing this person, and you haven't seen them during the transaction. You should definitely keep an eye on that and make sure you reference them and they're actually involved, because most of the time they try to insert themselves late in the game. The next important thing is a change in accounts. So if you ever get an email or a text or a call that says, so-and-so wants to change the account that they're having their proceeds wired to, that's a huge red flag. You should never see that. It should never have anything to do with the realtor. So again, that's something you immediately want to bring to the attention of whatever party has made that request. Another thing is request for personal information, social security numbers, checking account numbers, anything that is personal information. Absolutely, if someone asks for that, and particularly later on in the transaction, that should send up red flags. And the last thing that we're seeing is bank payoffs. So realtors should not be involved at all getting payoffs for mortgage accounts. So if you're asked to get involved or something sent to you, absolutely immediately get it to the attorney, because that's something that these folks are doing now, sending bogus payoff requests and having money wired to the wrong account. So those are the basic things to watch out for. Again, usually it happens late in the game of a transaction, and almost always on that last day of the month or a busy day for transactions. So keep your eyes out.
All right, awesome stuff. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
All right, let me pull up our 15-minute presentation today on mindset, because as I mentioned, this is going to be how you win 2024. How you think about what's happening with the NAR case, how you think about what's happening with the market in general, how you think about, even maybe you have a listing that's been sitting on the market and nobody's looking at it. What you think about, you bring about. So you, as a human being, where you sit right now in your life is a byproduct of the thoughts you've had up until this point. So if you want to create different results from what you've had thus far, then it's going to require that you unthink the way you've been thinking and think differently. So this is just a short presentation about how you can change your life by simply changing your mind. And we'll talk about how you can do that quickly. So quickly, your thoughts do influence your life. They have consequences so great that the thoughts, what you are thinking about, ends up creating your reality. Today, we're going to talk about unwiring your old thinking, feeling patterns and reprogramming your brain with new patterns of thinking and feeling based on who you want to be, who you want to grow into, who and what you want to become in your life. When you condition the body with a new mind, so we're going to talk about how to condition your body with your new mind, the two can no longer work in opposition, but they have to end up being in harmony. So many people are addicted to their thoughts and their way of thinking. It makes them feel a certain way because for many, their thoughts are who they are. So it's interesting. If you ask, like, who am I as a human being? Often it's either based on like exterior world, like I am a mom or the things you have, but also it's greatly tied to how we think about things. So it is not possible to change anything. Let's say, for example, you want to go from doing $2 million in annual sales to $10 million in annual sales. That is not possible if you do not change the way that you are thinking. And it doesn't have to just be about business. It can be anything where you feel stuck. In order to get unstuck, you're going to have to think your way out of it. Oftentimes we are addicted to feelings of guilt, feeling of loss, feelings of unworthiness, feelings of insecurity, all really important, especially in our business. Especially many human beings are programmed at a very early age, just about how they think about money, and money tied to worthiness. It's really important to examine your thoughts, how you think about money, and your own personal value. So one of the things we're going to focus on today is thoughts, how our thoughts make us feel, so that we can recognize emotional patterns. So I said a few minutes ago, you are who you've thought you thought your way into existence, basically, over your lifetime. And you say, well, I don't consciously go out and think this way. Of course you don't. It is patterns of thinking and feeling. So you are a result of patterns of thinking and feeling. And interestingly, many are absolutely addicted to these patterns of thinking and feeling. And when they try to change it, it's kind of like going through a drug withdrawal, and you find yourself going back to old ways of thinking, especially, by the way, when a market is changing, for example. Super easy to go back to thoughts of lack and not enough. So as we move into 2024, it's super important to be focused on our thought patterns, focusing on how our thoughts make us feel, and then how we break these patterns of thought and feeling to create better patterns of thoughts and feeling. So it's very hard to break thought patterns that you're addicted to. When you initially try to break the habit of your thoughts or feelings, you will probably resist because you've been doing it for so long. It's just easier to go back to your old ways of thinking. As long as we use familiar feelings as a barometer, as feedback on our efforts to change, we're always going to talk ourselves out of new possibilities. So we'll never be able to think greater than our internal environment, and we'll never be able to see a world of possible outcomes other than the negative ones from our past. Our thoughts and feelings have a huge amount of power over us. So for true change to occur, you must unmemorize the emotion that has become part of your personality, and then recondition your new mind. So It is easy to feel hopeless when we realize that the chemistry of our emotions has habituated our bodies to a state of being that is often a product of anger, jealousy, resentment, sadness, etc. These propensities are programmed in our subconscious. So as we go through the next few minutes, we're going to talk about how we can reprogram these, but really important to start noticing your feelings throughout the day. How sometimes we have certain people, when they speak to us, they make us feel a certain way. Or sometimes it can be what's just happening in a marketplace when we hear news about what's happening in the marketplace. So for example, this week I saw this in real estate agents when the information was released about the NAR case. At the end of the day, that NAR case has very little impact on our day-to-day business, but I could see that people felt a way about it. And how you feel about it is how you will react to it. And remember, all of those feelings and thoughts are creating the energy for your business and your life. So it's important to really focus on how you feel throughout the day when people speak to you, and information comes into you, and then start navigating those feelings so that you can create a day, a week, a year where those feelings are always managed and always used for the benefit of your business and your life. So this is easy and hard as well, because a lot of what happens in our daily life is unconscious. So we have to make the unconscious conscious. But one of the ways to do that is through the feelings. So when I say focus on what you're feeling throughout the day, when you take in information and speak to people, because those feelings are telling you something about what's going on in your unconscious mind. We want to make that unconsciousness conscious, because then we can direct our life. The good news is we can become consciously aware of our tendencies. To change your personality, you have to change your state of being, which is intimately connected to the feelings that you have memorized. By itself, let's talk about positive thinking. By itself, conscious positive thinking cannot overcome subconscious negative feelings. So that alone, just by saying, well, I'll just think positive, that alone is not going to do it. Because when the mind and the body are working opposite each other, the change is just not going to happen. If you've been devoted to the feeling of negativity for years, those feelings have created an automatic state of being. We could say that you're subconsciously unhappy. Your body has been conditioned to be negative. It knows how to be unhappy better than your conscious mind knows how to be happy. You don't even have to think about how to be negative. So, memorized feelings limit us to recreating the past. So this is why we want to wipe away the memorized feelings that we have created in our lives. And because those memorized feelings are simply have us reliving the past. The new day is always yesterday. We're reliving everything. If you keep dwelling on the bad experience you had with a customer or reliving familiar feelings day in and day out, you continuously signal your body with chemical feeling that it associates with the past. And that chemical continuity fools the body into believing that it is still currently experiencing the past. So when you feel anger or you're mad or somebody makes you feel anything other than good, you are back at the moment when it happened. So most people resist living in the near future. When we're programmed to focus on the bad stuff behind us, we have to create an about face in our thinking. But you can't create a new destiny unless you can overcome that past memory of who you feel you are. Many people dream of new possibilities, yet they're absolutely compelled to revisit, to relive their past day in and day out. Sometimes you see this even in our industry, people constantly talking about the good old days. We're reliving something that happened. The good old days, for example, when you hear an agent saying, oh, the market was amazing 2 years ago, I had so much business. That's you reliving something that is currently not the situation. Instead, we have to get ourselves excited about the new opportunity in the new market. We must be different in terms of our responses and experiences. We must overcome the recurring thoughts and feelings that the body memorizes in order to break the habit of being who we were yesterday. Our genes are as changeable as our brains. When we think and feel in the same way for most of our lives and memorize familiar states of being, our internal chemical state keeps activating the same genes, meaning that we keep making the same proteins, but the body cannot adapt to these repeated demands and it begins to break down. So if we stay in a routine, familiar conditions, creating the same emotional reactions by doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, seeing the same people, and memorizing our lives into patterns, our genetic patterns end up getting locked into the same patterns as generations before us. Let's talk about the external environment, like the marketplace. The external environment chemically signals the genes through our emotions and experiences. So if the experiences in your life are not changing the chemical signals then your genes are also not changing. All of this sounds like a lot to take in, but it is the secret to changing everything in your life. I've shared before that it was Thanksgiving probably 7 years ago, and our brokerage had received a very big fine. I won't go into the details of what the fine was, but it was a lot of money. It was a 6-figure fine. And I received notice of it right before I was like walking into, I was walking in, one of our agents, or a group of our agents actually were doing a Thanksgiving pie event. And I was heading in, I had just pulled into the parking lot and I felt I was heading into this event, and I opened my email and I read that I was going to be responsible for this 6-figure fine for the company. And immediately I noticed like everything changed. I could feel like tears welling up. I was in a really bad place immediately, going from like a place of super excitement. I'm going to spend some time with agents. We're doing this awesome event. People are coming in to get pies. It's the Thanksgiving holiday. So I went from like a really positive place immediately from an email to a really low place. But I stopped and I recognized it. And I said, wait a second, this feeling's not good. This feeling is not good. And if I keep in this feeling, in this very bad feeling with my eyes watering because I'm so upset and sad and mad, and I start telling myself victim stories like, oh, the bad things always happen to me, what is going to be the result? So I realized at that moment that this was a fork in the road, that I could continue with the way that I was programmed to deal with that bad thing that happened, or I could stop for a minute and reflect on it. And for me, the way I reflected on it was I sat in my car outside the event and I said, I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes thinking about all the reasons why I'm thankful for this fine. And I went through a process. Now, by the way, there are reasons to be thankful for a 6-figure fine. And I found all of them. And I could feel my energy. I could feel like weight lifting off me as I reflected on this. And at the end of the 5 minutes, I was like, it's a 6-figure fine. We'll pay it. We'll figure out a way. And I went about my day. I went about my event, and guess what? That fine is like so far away from my memory right now, but that was like a fork in the road, realizing that I could either react the way I had programmed myself to react over my entire life, or I could change my subconscious. I could change the way I was going to react to this situation. And I believe that that was a fork in my life that changed many things. It changed the trajectory of my life, just how I thought about one fine. So this is all about quantum programming our own brains. This is about quantum programming our subconscious. And that is not easy because we have to first become aware of what is happening in our subconscious. But the way we get a hint to that is by our feelings. Our feelings tell us something's going on. So I might not be thinking about what's going on, but I'm feeling a way about what's going on. Now, what's cool about this is in that moment when I received that fine, I was able to recreate an emotion for me. I went from like super sadness, tears coming into my eyes, sad, ready to cry. I was a victim. That's how I felt. I went from being the victim, like these bad things always happen to me. And just when I find myself like crawling out of one hole, I fall into another. Those are the immediate thoughts. And then I stopped and I focused on gratitude for 5 minutes and I changed my emotion. The sadness, the victimhood, it was all gone. I said, no, this is crazy. Like, this is nothing. I'm so thankful that I got this. It could have been 10 times that. So I started going through this whole process where I was able to recognize the emotion and then change the emotion. So we have the ability to think ahead. So we get to change the effect. We get to change the effect. We get to make a choice about the cause of the effect instead of letting our subconscious take over and say, this is how you're going to feel. So we can experience gratitude ahead of the environment to such an extent that the body begins to believe that it's already an event. That is absolutely what I did when I received notice of the 6-figure fine many years ago. I absolutely changed. I focused on gratitude. I focused on, I'm like, this is not a big deal. Like this fine doesn't really even exist at a different stage in my life. So I already in my own head had conquered and paid for that fine and changed my emotion behind it. You can absolutely change everything with your thoughts. It comes down to mentally rehearsing activities. Think about the thoughts that you're mentally rehearsing every day. 100%, you can live right now as if you already had the best 2024 real estate market you've ever experienced. Does what's happening in the outside market and the NAR lawsuit and buyer agency contract, does that play a role in your success? I'm here to say absolutely not. None of that plays a role in your success unless you decide it does. So it's time to start thoughtfully rehearsing your future reality. Super important to stay present as much as possible. Gratitude is about the present. Gratitude brings you back to a present moment instead of focusing on something bad that has happened in the past or could happen in the future. Gratitude is about being thankful for right now. And I promise you that when you get off today's program, if you spend 5 minutes, I don't care what is happening in your life, you can find 100 things to be grateful for. And through that gratitude, you start unmemorizing emotions and creating new ones. You start reconditioning your response to certain things in your life. So stop worrying about this future stuff that worries you. Focus on gratitude, focus on living as if you've already overcome the fear that you were so afraid of. Stop living in the past. I've shared this story before, but this was a long time ago. I had an agent who was like constantly struggling in their business and their life. Like, went to every training class, seemed to like put a lot of effort into building his real estate business. And one day I saw him at the office and he had this big board in front of him, like one of those boards that you put thumbtacks in. And he had on it ATM receipt with $2 in as a balance. And I was like, why do you have that hanging there? And he's like, it's a reminder of the worst time in my life that I only had $2 left in my account. I said, throw that out. I said, if anything, put up a fake receipt that shows you have $1 million sitting in your bank account, because you're reliving the day that you had $2 in your account every time you sit here. So no wonder you're not seeing results in your business. It doesn't matter that you're doing the activities to build a great business if your mindset is stuck at a date when you had $2 in your account, because that's the life that you're living, that $2 day. Instead, live your potential future now. Let's see, some of the things you can do to really focus on unfocusing yourself from the bad stuff is focus on creation. Like, focus on things that you can do where you let your brain just be free. Maybe it's doing art, maybe it's reading. I think it's super interesting that animals don't hold on to the past. They don't hold on to past things. They don't hold on to a stress response. But we as humans always hold on to these stress responses, and they are the things that serve us least in our business and our life. We're at about the end of the program. I'll post this. I do want to just let you guys know that if you like this type of content, these slides, I took like a small selection of slides from a class that I did maybe 6 years ago, and it's called Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. It's a 5-part series, 5 hours long. If it's something that interests you, you can actually go watch it at our YouTube station, youtube.com/LAER training. By the way, it's a good idea just to subscribe to that so that every time we add new content, you get notified. And all of that 5-part program was based on these books, like pulling all the information from Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, Promptings by Cody Bateman, and Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. The whole program, the 5-part series, is a byproduct of all the information condensed from these 5 books. So I believe we are at the end of our program. I want to thank you, everybody. Let me go back to my sales meeting slide so we can get you guys. The next meeting will be on the first Friday of, next meeting will be the first Friday, which is that right? December 13th? I thought the first Friday was December 1st. Did I lose Sergio?
Sorry, first Wednesday.
Oh, I was thinking the boot camp. Okay. Yeah, second Wednesday.
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah, second Wednesday, first Friday.
Yes, all right. I'm all screwed up. For the next boot camp, I'll actually be in Florida at visiting our Florida offices for our next boot camp, which is the first Friday of the month. But our next sales meeting, we will be almost at the end of the year, believe it or not, on December 13th. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a great day.